Racist text messages making their way into people's phones in Austin and across the country. And now new messages of deportation. The action the FBI is taking.
A part of downtown Congress is getting an overhaul, but this edition does not involve a new skyline.
Storms continue well to our west and northwest, but when will they arrive here? We'll track their slow development for your Friday in First Warning Weather.
Well, last night we looked into safety concerns at Austin's airport after 2 workers died last year. Tonight, how staffing challenges and vacancies could impact safety there. A KXAN investigation continues. First, though, we are following some breaking news right now. Austin police are investigating a homicide on the East US 290 service road in East Austin, just past I-35.
And they say one person is dead. An investigation is underway. And in a briefing, police said this was an isolated incident and there's no known threat to the public. They are not releasing information on the suspect just yet, but they are urging anyone with information to contact police.
Well, racist text messages popping up across the country have now made their way to Central Texas. And it's a warning for parents about what might be on their children's phones. And
KXAN's Barrett Tryon tells us what's being said and what's now being done to stop them from happening. We do want to warn you, though, the messages are disturbing.
When she sent that text message to me, I was terrified. I was like, oh, my God, why would somebody, I couldn't understand why somebody would send that.
Sharon Herring still in disbelief over this, a disturbing text sent to her 13-year-old granddaughter. You've been selected to become a slave at your nearest plantation, it reads. Please be ready by 12 a.m. with all your necessary belongings. You'll be picked up in a white van with a Trump representative in your area. It goes on to say, you are in slave group B.
I felt like we were targeted because we were Democrats. Because how would they know that?
It appears she is not alone.
Anybody happened to get any weird messages or strange messages? And a student said, yeah, I got one that said something about you're going to get deported.
Teacher Sean Hinton with Austin ISD says he shared this message with his students' permission. It says they'll be picked up in a brown van and are in deportation group A3.
It was pretty terrifying for my granddaughter. She's still feeling kind of scared and worried about it.
The FBI says they are aware of the texts. In a statement posted on social media, the agency said it's aware of the texts being sent around the country and is in contact with the Justice Department and other agencies on the matter.
Parents to be more aware of our children's phones and social media apps that they're on, just to monitor your children closely, because you never know if this type of thing could happen again.
One message most of us can agree on. In Austin, Barrett Tryon, KXAN News.
And the FBI also reminded people if you are physically threatened to report it to local law enforcement.
And adding some depth to this, last year more than half of the single bias hate crimes reported in the U.S. were motivated by race or ethnicity. That's according to the U.S. Department of Justice. That was followed by religion and sexual orientation, gender identity, disability, and then gender at less than 1%. Homophobic and misogynistic messaging fueled a demonstration on the Texas State University campus yesterday. Images sent to KXAN's reported showed signs calling women property and insinuating homosexuality is a sin, among others. University President Kelly Damphouse sent a letter today confirming 2 men not affiliated with the university were seen carrying the signs for about an hour. Damphouse has said that he was saddened by the incident as it, quote, runs so contrary to the values that we hold at Texas State, in particular that we respect and value others and that we believe that we are all Bobcats belong here. Damphouse said university police monitored the 2 men, but no arrests were made. He also addressed how the men were able to stay on campus, citing free speech laws protecting public outdoor campus spaces. We have a more detailed explanation on that over at KXAN.com, as well as resources for people who may have been scared or angered by this incident.
Okay, so we're back to dry again after some widely scattered showers and a couple of thunderstorms earlier today. Most of the activity is off to our north and west, where there had even been some severe storms and flash flooding. And we are unlikely to get much of this here tonight. Very slow moving storm system is going to keep things almost status quo here for several hours. Just a low 20% rain chance before the sun comes up, because I do think a few hours before daybreak we'll start to see a couple of showers. Overnight lows of 60 68. There's also a tiny chance that a stray storm could sneak into the western hill country here just after midnight. Right now, the hill country in areas west of 35 has a 1 out of 5 severe weather risk through 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. I think really, though, the majority of that severe weather is going to stay out of the area here tonight. Coming up in first warning weather, we do have higher rain chances here for tomorrow. We'll show you the severe weather risk for tomorrow, how much rain we get before a new dry stretch.
All right, Nick, thank you very much. President-elect Donald Trump is talking to NBC News about one of his priorities when he takes office in January, his mass deportation plan. He said his goal is to make the border, quote, strong and powerful. And when NBC News asked about the logistics of a mass deportation, Trump said, quote, it is not a question of a price tag, going on to say, quote, we have no choice. Immigration enforcement officials told NBC News in July that a mass deportation effort would be a huge challenge, and some border sheriffs here in Texas have told KXAN the same thing.
A downtown Austin project that looks to redesign Congress Avenue could mean some roads will disappear near the famed stretch leading to the Capitol.
And that is not sitting well with some people who live or work downtown. Our Nabil Ramadna gives us an update on the reimagined Main Street in Austin.
One day, these cars on Congress Avenue could be gone. The roads replaced with a large green space for people to gather.
I think having something like a plaza, mind you, making sure that we're taking care of the businesses around us, would be great for foot traffic.
Michael Jewell works downtown. He says he likes the idea, but not everyone does.
My first reaction was, how did we get this far?
Eddie Safety lives and works in the area. He's worried about the businesses and less parking, and of course, traffic.
The more that you do to restrict the avenues in which you can get around, the more it dissuades people to want to come here.
If a plaza is built, vehicular access along Congress Avenue would end just north of 7th Street, creating an open plaza for pedestrians. But east-west cross traffic would still continue on 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th Streets.
So I think there's a big opportunity here to change the way people travel on Congress.
Anna Martin with the Transportation and Public Works Department says the inspiration for the project came from the Texas Capitol Mall. But these two areas are much different, and that's why her department is looking to find out what Austinites and businesses think about it.
How do I receive deliveries? Where do people park? Things like that. And we've been working one-on-one with all of those business owners.
That feedback playing a part in how the area could look in the future.
I mean, obviously, there's going to be a balance that needs to be found.
How many locals is this truly going to benefit on a daily basis as to how many thousands is it going to inconvenience?
Nabil Ramadna, KXAN News.
And if you would like to chime in, we do have a link in this story at KXAN.com.
There's not enough people out there enforcing safety.
Last night, a KXAN investigation dug into safety concerns at Austin's growing airport after 2 workers died last year.
And tonight, KXAN investigator Avery Travis looks into how staffing challenges and vacancies could impact safety and what the city's Department of Aviation is doing about it.
Flying through Austin's airport, it's clear. It's busier than ever. You may see it in the parking lots and security lines, but just outside the windows, between the terminal and the runway, to the area called the apron.
It's the one part of the airport where there are people, vehicles, and airplanes with engines running, all mixing together.
One former airport employee with knowledge of operations out there agreed to speak with KXAN about their concerns. We verified their credentials, but they asked to remain anonymous.
Every day feels like things are hanging by a thread. That group is just so overwhelmed, so underpaid, so understaffed.
They're talking about the team that's responsible for airside operations, as well as compliance with federal regulations and safety monitoring on the apron. Right now, the airport says it is meeting its minimum staffing standards, with 2 people during the day and at least 1 at night.
We've met the minimum. How do we exceed that? In some cases we are, but we know there's a lot of work to come.
According to staffing data provided by the airport, it is trying to fill a 30% vacancy rate on the airside operations team. That's far higher than the roughly 17% rate for the aviation department as a whole. Why do you think that particular division has struggled to fill those vacancies?
We have to offer them something that makes it worth leaving the airport that they're at to come join us in Austin. And the biggest thing that's been inhibiting us from doing that is not offering competitive pay.
Sam Haynes with the city's aviation department says it's trying. The budget for fiscal year 2024 reflects increased pay for several positions and a few new positions, including some managerial ones.
So it's not just about filling the vacancies, it's about bringing the most talented, experienced, qualified people. And really what we're looking for is to bring others from large airports to help us grow this airport into a large one ourselves.
We've raised it multiple times and we've been told it was being looked at, but we haven't seen it, and we continue to see the vacancies.
Still, some city leaders expressed concerns just last month following a special risk assessment report released by the city auditor's office. It noted, quote, the increases in passenger numbers and staffing challenges have made it hard for aviation staff to effectively manage and maintain its existing assets. That report also named emergency management and safety as some of the top risks for the department, saying limited resources may result in efforts being reactive. KXAN asked the airport about records showing dozens of violations noting safety issues on the apron in recent years, and about whether there should be stronger enforcement. Haynes emphasized violations are not the only way the airport hopes to encourage a culture of safety. And she also said a new safety management system being implemented over the next few years will help them better collect data and document trends.
So it's a combination of using tools to track data and developing those trusting relationships so that people feel comfortable and confident coming forward to speak about incidents that occurred.
But that former employee still worries about how and where any new responsibilities will land.
The solution is more people who can address the safety issues in the way that they're supposed to.
One of those new managerial positions we mentioned is a safety management system, or SMS manager, to oversee that program. The department is also trying to bring on an emergency management officer soon, too. Now, as for the increased pay for certain positions, Haynes said some positions under the higher pay scales are only just now going online for applicants. They hope to see the impact of that on vacancy rates soon as well. Avery Travis, KXAN Investigates.
And the risk assessment from the city that Avery mentioned also noted that staffing challenges have caused the airport to rely on third-party contractors for certain work.
Now, that is the focus of a lawsuit filed by the family of a man who died after being hit by a fuel truck on the apron almost exactly a year ago. The lawsuit accuses the company who employed the fuel truck driver of negligence. Last night, we talked to this family and have the company's response. You can find that story on KXAN.com right now. Plus, how does Austin compare to other airports when it comes to safety efforts? You can find that in the investigative section of our website.
Texas Longhorn head coach Steve Sarkisian and UT Athletics director Christel Conti have a message for fans ahead of this weekend's game against Florida.
And it comes after Longhorn fans threw trash onto the field during the Georgia game last month.
Stay in the game. Let the behavior of cheering loud, creating a great atmosphere, dictate who we are.
Now, the duo shared their message on social media tonight. After a penalty call during the third quarter, frustrated fans threw water bottles and other debris during the Georgia game, and the refs ultimately did change the call. And the SEC fined UT $250,000.
Okay, so looking ahead to this weekend, the sun will be shining. The temperatures will be pretty cool for fans, right?
Yeah, weekend looks great. We've got one more day of rain chances to get through first. And by get through, we mean we hope we get some rain. And the odds are better that you get rain tomorrow compared to what we did have a little bit of today. Let's show you the big picture. There's an upper level low spinning. It was moving over Arizona. Now it's into western New Mexico. And as it continues to move east, it's providing lift in the atmosphere out ahead of it. That is going to continue as this low moves off to the north and east over the next 24 hours. At the same time, a cold front is trying to develop near it, call it just to the east southeast of it, and the two combined should help to increase our rain chances tomorrow over today. Today, that low was just too far to the west, and the showers and storms stayed mostly too far to the west. to give us much meaningful wet weather. And in fact, right now, we're all dry here in Central Texas. But here's what's going to start happening overnight is we'll start seeing some spotty showers developing, say 3, 4 in the morning. This should all be fairly light at first, but at the same time, that cold front's going to try to generate a line of downpours and storms that will take all day long to move through Central Texas, very slow moving. It'll be entering the hill country near the middle of the day, providing some showers and storms and at least a focal point for wet weather. And out ahead of it, some spotty showers and storms elsewhere. This front looks to be most organized near and especially east of 35, with heavier rain and potentially some stronger storms there before it moves out and away as we get into your late Friday night. All this to say that our higher rain chances will come during the late afternoon and especially tomorrow evening. We think 60% of Central Texas gets measurable rain tomorrow, which means 40% of the area will likely miss out. So it's not going to be the situation like we had Monday night, where most areas get several inches of rain. I think there will be some scattered showers and storms around, sure, but perhaps not what you're necessarily hoping for. That being said, the storms that develop do carry a low 1 out of 5 severe weather risk for the entire area. Localized flash flooding is a concern, but any storms that could be severe would have some marginally large hail and damaging wind. We don't think we're going to get nearly as much rain as we had Monday night for most areas, between 1/10 of an inch and 3/4 of an inch, but there could be some localized 1 to 2 inch totals in some spots. And then we do dry out as we head through the weekend. A spotty shower Saturday morning, and then it's increasing sun up to 75, 79 and sunshine here on Sunday. And then for Veterans Day on Monday, 82 with more sunshine and more warmth for much of next week. Our next cold front comes through later on Wednesday, but it doesn't bring much of a rain chance, just 10%. We're still watching Hurricane Rafael because it's a storm in the Gulf, and we always watch those storms in the Gulf. But this one, we don't have to pay a ton of attention to because the model tracks have been very consistent here over the last 2 days in a westward movement and then a southern movement, not having any of Texas within the track there. Do want to remind you, our KXAN Friendsgiving Challenge continues. It's the morning team versus your favorite evening team. Scan the QR code on your screen. All the donations eventually go to the Central Texas Food Bank. Go to KXAN.com/Friendsgiving and click Evening Team.
This is KXAN Sports, brought to you by Thomas J. Henry.
Some roster news for Texas football tonight. Receiver Jonte Cook is leaving the program. Steve Sarkisian said the decision was mutual and wished Cook the best. This season, Cook had 8 catches and 2 touchdowns. Out of high school, he was a top 5 receiver in the country, according to several recruiting outlets, and a 5-star receiver out of DeSoto. Texas defense, they have been playing really well as of late. They're number 1 in the nation in total yards allowed and passing yards allowed, second to Army in points allowed. And with Florida's fluid QB situation, the Horns hope to feast on the Gators offense come Saturday.
I love when Colin and Trey and Alfred and Vernon and all those guys are rushing, Anthony Hill are rushing the quarterback, because that affects timing in the passing game and allows our DBs to play a certain way as well. So we don't ever want to be one-dimensional, and as I touched on, I think that's one of the beauties of PK as a play caller, is the change-up calls that he makes in a game, I think, does affect an offensive team.
Texas is not the only ones back after a bye week. Our Texas Game Day analyst Alex Okafor is as well, here to help you get ready for the Longhorns' next game against Florida. All right, now, Alex, coming off this second bye week, final bye week of the season, Texas has 4 more games left. Quite simply, what do they have to do to get themselves in the best position to make the SEC title game in Atlanta?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, coming off of this bye week, I'm hoping this Texas team got healthy. And us getting healthy will increase our physicality some. On top of that, we got to get back to our identity. Coming into this season, Texas was known as having an experienced offensive line, a dominant unit up front. We haven't really played that way over the past couple of weeks, so I'm hoping this bye week allowed us to attack our deficiencies and really get back to our identity, and that's having a dominant unit up front, keeping a clean pocket for Quinn, and having explosive plays in the running game. Let's get back to that.
And it'll be nice to have a home game in front of the home crowd in order to, start this stretch here in the friendly confines of DKR Royal Texas Memorial Stadium. Thanks again for joining us, Alex. Really appreciate your expertise. Now, Alex won't be able to make it for the show this week. You will be missed dearly, though. But you can catch me, Dan, Neal, Noah Gross, and others here for Texas Game Day as we get you set. Coming up Saturday at 10 o'clock, for Texas and Florida. Catch us over on KBVO. College basketball head coach Rodney Terry announced transfer guard Tremont Mark will be out indefinitely due to an ankle injury. Mark missed the Longhorn season opener against Ohio State and now obviously will miss tomorrow night's game against Houston Christian. SEC tournament semifinal on the pitch, Texas and Arkansas. This one will go into 2 overtimes, and in the second, Lauren Lapamarda delivers this amazing goal to give Texas the win. This one will equal a trip to the SEC title game for the Horns. What a moment for Lapamarda and Texas. They lift her up high. She deserves it. After that one, they will face South Carolina Sunday at 1:30. High school football over on KBVO. Georgetown and Cedar Park met up at Gupton for the district championship. First quarter, no score. Georgetown's Jet Walker, beautiful run up the middle, powerful run up the middle. That is a 30-yard touchdown run to put the Eagles on top, 7-0. Second quarter, 10-0 Georgetown. Cedar Park's David Cooper to Logan Wickets. What a play by the Timberwolves. They get on the board, but it was too much Georgetown, too much Jet Walker. This 46-yard touchdown run was his third of the night, and the Eagles win the district title 31-7 over Cedar Park. That's it for sports. We're back after this. Keep it here.
All right, so we will see rain tomorrow, right?
Most of us.
Okay.
Yeah, rain coverage at 60%, which means that there will be some places that don't quite get it. But you see the rain chances here tomorrow. They peak late afternoon and into the evening. So while there will be a few showers around in the morning, your best chances way late in the day.
All right, that's going to do it. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you.